Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Nitai Gaura Hariva 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 Nitai Gaura Hariva Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Shtottara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindha Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Prem Se Kaho Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Prabhupada Nuga Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Nittai Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 27, Text 5. Ateva Shanais Chittam Prasaktam Asatam Pati Bhakti Yogena Tivrena Viraktyana Viraktya Yedvasham. Please repeat. Ateva Shanais Chittam Prasaktam Asatam Pati Bhakti Yogena Tivrena Viraktya Chanayedvasham. Atayeva Shanais Chittam Prasaktam Asatam Pati Bhakti Yogena Tivrena Viraktya Chanayedvasham. Atayeva Shanais Chittam Prasaktam Asatam Pati Bhakti Yogena Tivrena Viraktya Chanayedvasham. Atayeva Shanais Chittam Prasaktam Asatam Pati Bhakti Yogena Tivrena Viraktya Chanayedvasham. Mataji's. अतः एव, therefore, shanaihi, gradually, chittam, mind, consciousness, prasaktam, attached, asatam, of material enjoyments, pati, on the path, bhakti yogena, by devotional service, tivrena, very serious, viraktya, without attachment, cha, and nayet, he must bring, vasham, under control. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: it is the duty of every conditioned soul to engage his polluted consciousness, which is now attached to material enjoyment, in very serious devotional service with detachment. Thus his mind and consciousness will be under full control. Purport: the process of liberation is very nicely explained in this verse. The cause of one's becoming conditioned by material nature is his thinking himself the enjoyer, the proprietor or the friend of all living entities. This false thinking is a result of contemplation on sense enjoyment. When one thinks that he is the best friend to his countrymen, to society, or to humanity, and he engages in various nationalistic, philanthropic, and altruistic activities, all that is just so much concentration on sense gratification. The so-called national leader or humanist does not serve everyone. He serves his senses only. This is a fact. But the conditioned soul cannot understand this because he is bewildered by the spell of material nature. It is therefore recommended in this verse that one engage very seriously in the devotional service of the Lord. This means that one should not think that he is the proprietor, benefactor, friend, or enjoyer. He should always be cognizant that the real enjoyer is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the basic principle of Bhakti Yoga. One must be firmly convinced of these three principles. One should always think that Krishna is the proprietor, Krishna is the enjoyer, and Krishna is the friend. Not only should he understand these principles himself, but he should try to convince others and propagate Krishna consciousness. As soon as one engages in such serious devotional service of the Lord, naturally the propensity to falsely claim lordship over material nature disappears. That detachment is called vairagya. Instead of being absorbed in so-called material lordship, one engages in Krishna consciousness. That is control of consciousness. The yoga process necessitates controlling the senses. Yoga indriya samyamaha. Since the senses are always active, their activities should be engaged in devotional service. One cannot stop their activities. If one wants to artificially stop the activities of the senses, his attempt will be a failure. Even the great yogi Vishwamitra, who was trying to control his senses by the yoga process, fell victim to the beauty of Menaka. There are many such instances. Unless one's mind and consciousness are fully engaged in devotional service, there is always the opportunity for the mind to become occupied with desires for sense gratification. One particular point mentioned in this verse is very significant. It is said here, prasaktam asatam pati. The mind is always attracted by asat, the temporary material existence. Because we have been associated with material nature since time immemorial, we have become accustomed to our attachment to this temporary material nature. The mind has to be fixed at the eternal lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Savai manah Krishna padara vindayoho. One has to fix the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. Then everything will be very nice. Thus the seriousness of Bhakti Yoga is stressed in this verse. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jayasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share some Krishna conscious realizations in this beautiful atmosphere, being at the lotus feet of Radha Govardhana Dhari and at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, and in the association of all wonderful devotees in this community. This shloka reflects the other shloka in the Bhagavatam. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Wherein again the word tivrena bhakti is used. Sometimes it sounds a little odd. Down in India, Tivravadi means a terrorist. The literal meaning of the word Tivra means fundamentalists, terrorists. So here it says, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. You got to practice Bhakti Yoga like that. I'm not giving you ideas, but Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, focused, laser focused, one-pointed attention. Don't divert it anything else. There is no need. There is no need. So, polluted consciousness here means that one that is not focused like that. Even a little bit off, you're polluted. Because pure devotional service is what is being spoken about by all the Goswamis, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and everybody. Pure devotional service is normally very rare, as mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One of the qualities is Sudurlabha, very rarely achieved. Because mostly people will not be able to understand that is the essence of the entire teaching of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says it is rahasyam. It is a secret. It's confidential that I'm telling you. Right? Bhaktosi me sakacheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. It's not that everybody gets to know it so easily and practice it, and that too with laser focus. But by the mercy of the Lord, by the mercy of Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is desiring to give it to everybody and open it up. And therefore, it becomes known to anybody and everybody who wants it. But that doesn't mean that it loses its seriousness. Because it is commonly available doesn't mean its serious focus is lost. We should still be seriously engaged. Why? Because we are inside this material body and controlled by the mind. That's what is being spoken here. If you know about it, then you must practice it seriously. Sometimes people know about it but can't practice it. A lot of them don't know about it and therefore are not bothered about practicing it. So we don't have to be surprised. But it is amazing that in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's times, everybody gets to know about it. And everybody has got a chance to experience it by chanting the holy name in Kirtan. Everybody gets to get a feeling and an experience of what it is. A whiff of it. This is how it is. So everybody gets to know it. Everybody gets to even experience it a little bit. And that can make you attracted and make you become very serious. But the problem is, it's mentioned here, is the mind. Is the mind. Here Prabhupada says in the last paragraph, one particular point mentioned in this verse is very significant, which is the key. That prasaktam asatam pati, the mind is always attracted by asat. So, you see, the mind has got a capacity, a infinite capacity to mundanize everything. Even the spirituality that you come in touch with. It's make you interpret it, make you think differently about it, and throw you off the tracks. That's the capacity of the mind. It's very close relationship with the three modes, with the Maya and associated. It's through the mind that the modes affect you. As I mentioned in the Bhagavat, how do the modes actually get you? Your pure spirit soul. It gets you through the mind. In the mind runs the program. In the mind is the program loaded. And through the mind and through the thoughts, we function. We function. It's a very nicely described in the Bhagavatam in the 3.4 here. Kapila's instructions to Devahuti, and also with Maitreya and Vidura's conversation. The mechanics of how the mind works, how this body works, and how you are trapped and imprisoned. How the pure spirit soul is imprisoned and trapped. That's why knowledge is important. That's why with knowledge only can you get the mind. With knowledge and intelligence can you control the mind. That's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita also by Krishna. That Jahi Shatru Mahabaho. He tells him you conquer this enemy by using intelligence. And what does intelligence rest on? It rests on knowledge. And with the help of intelligence and knowledge one can control the mind. Although the mind is addicted to asat, addicted to the unreal, right? So you have such a great enemy right inside your system. It's a bug. You have to debug it. You got to, really cleanse the virus. And it's a very strong program. It's a very strong program. That's why, very nicely explained by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita too, that you can't afford to be loose. You can't afford to be inattentive. If you want to be a serious guy, wanting to understand the reality, what the heck is going on, who am I, where am I, what's happening to me, this interest in this inquiry itself is the first step towards understanding something is up here. I am under a program. I am not myself, and I'm being forced to operate in a particular way because my mind is doing it. And the mind has got a huge arrangement and a facility behind the three modes, material nature, and everything. And I'm trapped inside. Just to accept this itself is great stuff. To get to know that I am conditioned, to get to know I am in a trap, this body, this mind, this is not reality. This is not me. That's the first step. It's explained by Kapila to Devahuti. And how does it happen? Today, I think, people are talking about AI. I want to mention a little bit about it. Whole world is gripped with artificial intelligence and AI and the prospects of automating so many things and making human life light and maybe useless. You don't have to do anything much. And in the process, they are trying to understand how the human being works. And they're trying desperately to understand consciousness. And they've landed up concluding that consciousness comes from the brain. And they've, studying it in a completely different way. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is already speaking about it. He's already speaking about consciousness. He's already speaking about how you are already running on artificial intelligence. You are running on AI. Why? He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Mama maya duratyaya mamevaye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. He said that their only devotional service will liberate you. Otherwise, you're under an artificial reality. Very clearly explains it there. And then he also explains how it works, how the three modes work. And each one of them, and they affect you, what you think, how you act. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. And a little bit of information and knowledge from a pure devotee of the Lord and his association will open you up a little bit. And at least make you feel, think, will, and understand, maybe I'm inside a program. A program is running on me. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. You don't have to think that AI is something else outside of you that you embed inside a machine. You see, in one of the sessions I asked a question, how do you know that you are not running under artificial intelligence? And this confirmed. You see that? Yesterday also there was a confirmation. And people were silent for a whole, half a minute. I asked them, how do you know you're not running on artificial intelligence? That question has not been answered. Why? Because I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming certain things. I'm assuming certain things. So Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, you are running under it. It's just that he doesn't call it AI. It's far more complicated than the AI that you know. And Krishna explains the three modes. He explains my inferior energy and says, Duratyaya. You can't get across it. It's very powerful. Mama maya duratyaya. Right? So we are under that, and that the mind is the center of it. The mind is the center of it. How to get across the mind? That's the hint given here. Only by surrendering to me and rendering service to me will it open up. And you can see how you are conditioned. You can see yourself making mistakes. You can see yourself tripping. And then you can set yourself right. It's a whole process. And while you're even seeing it and tripping and falling and getting up, Krishna is saying, never mind. Apichat suduracharo bhajate maam ananyabhak sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. He said, I'll stand with you throughout the entire discovery and your realization of it and your practice of it and your making mistakes and everything right up to perfection. I'll be with you. He's guaranteeing that. So this is an amazing process of devotional service, and only this is the only way. Nastyeva 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 gatiranyata. There is no other way. That's why you'll see in history, so many devotees went through it. They made mistakes, they fell down, they got up, they ran, and finally they made it. Or some others made it smoothly, boom. And you have all sorts of people from all sorts of platforms, from platform of Gyan and knowledge, getting to Bhakti, being in Brahman realization and getting to Bhakti, from the platform of karma, getting to Bhakti, from the platform of being a demon, getting to Bhakti, like Bali Maharaj. He is a demon. And he got the mercy of the Lord and he realized it. He took a step and exercised his free will and surrendered, and he got to be a pure devotee. He's labeled as a Mahajana, one of the 12 great authorities in devotional service. From a demon to Bhakti, from Brahmavadis, like the 4 Kumaras, they're all situated in Brahman. They got an experience of Bhakti, smelling the lotus feet of the Lord, the tulsi coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, and they became devotees. Shukadeva Goswami was blissful in Brahman. It just, as soon as he came out of his mother's womb, it seems he walked out straight into the forest, and he was a completely Brahman realized person. He heard Bhagavatam slokas in the forest, chanted by Vyasadeva's disciples. He himself is Vyasadeva's son, didn't even see his father, and he just walked out. And he heard people chanting about the mercy of the Lord when he liberated Putana. He heard the shloka. Ahobakiyam stanakalakutam jigham sayayadapi sadhavi lebe katim dhatri uchitam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam tvameva. He saw all of them chanting this and collecting firewood. I said, what did you say? Chant that again. He came out of his meditation. He said, what did he say? Say that again. And they said, what's wrong with you? I mean, they chanted it again. They said, chant some more. And he chanted shlokas from the Bhagavatam. He became very attracted to Krishna. Because that shloka says, Kamva dayalum sharanam tvameva. Who else can be so merciful that to the demoness who came to kill him, right, wanting to breastfeed him and kill him with poison, that Lord, he gave her the position of a mother in the spiritual world. How can there be anybody greater and more merciful than that? When he heard that, he said, where did you hear all this from? They told him, we're from Vyasadeva's ashram. Take me to the ashram. He went back to his father through his father's disciples. He didn't even look at the face of his father earlier. And his father went behind him, my son, the Bhagavatam describes, and he just disappeared into the forest without even looking back. And now the Bhagavatam and description of the Lord brought him back. And his father was so happy, because I want to speak the Bhagavatam to you first. He had so many other disciples, he chose not to speak to all of them. But he waited for Shukadeva to come and he spoke the Bhagavatam to Shukadeva Goswami. And he fully absorbed it and soaked in it like nothing. And then he came and spoke to Parikshit. When Parikshit asked him, and that same father came and sat down. Here my son speaking what I taught him. Why? It was coming in a different way from Sukha Mukhat Amrita Dravasamyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. The pastimes of Krishna were coming soaked in rasa from the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami. So his father was sitting and hear him. I taught him and it's coming out so beautifully, soaked in rasa. Not only his father, there was Narada Muni. There was even his father's father, his grandfather Parashara Muni also sitting there. And all the great rishis and sages were sitting there to hear about devotion to Krishna, devotional service, and the stories of wonderful devotees. It was so attractive. So the soul really wakes up to Krishna, really wakes up to love of Krishna, right? It's so powerful, bhakti. And anybody can be woken up. Even if you're a demon, you're a jnani, you're a karmi involved in karma kanda and so many activities, like you'll see in the Bhagavatam, the story of King Prachina Bhari. Narada Muni sneaks in and tells him a story, allegorical story with he as the main protagonist. And the guy doesn't understand it. He said, "Can you explain this to me further?" And he explains to him and said, "You are the guy I'm talking about." And then he changes gradually. Stories of all sorts of people taking up bhakti from all platforms. Because bhakti is universal and powerful. And this is exactly the reality. It's exactly the reality. So therefore we should be very cautious about the mind and the suggestions of the mind. That's why we keep in the association of devotees who speak the truth uncompromisingly. They call a spade a spade. Prabhupada went all over the world and told everybody Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You should worship him. You're a rascal. You left him. Change. Chant Hare Krishna. Take some prasadam. Dance, chant, and awaken your Krishna consciousness. He said the same thing everywhere. He said the same thing everywhere. People changed by getting in touch with bhakti, by bhakti yoga. It's very powerful. So that's why it's mentioned here, bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayed vasham. To get detachment on your own, it's not going to happen so easily. Prabhupada cites the instance of Vishwamitra Muni and how Vishwamitra Muni failed using tapasya and meditation to stabilize himself and his mind. It didn't work out. We have the story of Shaubari Muni in the Bhagavatam. He went underwater to meditate, severe austerity, and he saw two fishes copulating and then finished. Just two fishes. Finished his whole tapasya. He came out and got married to 50 daughters of King Mandhata. And then he expanded 50 times and had 50 times gratification. And at the end of it, he said, "Gosh, it doesn't work out." He was not happy. He was not happy. I made a mistake. So, you name it, there are beautiful histories and stories of people finding it doesn't work. It doesn't really help me. But yayatma suprasiddhati, when a person establishes his relationship with Krishna and it gradually builds up in bhakti, in love of God, you feel fulfilled, satisfied, happy. This is it. We can see that. And that opportunity is open for everybody in the world. See, I'm actually coming from a smart which is very much involved in strict karmakanda procedures and everything. Right from a young age, my mom used to do 2.5 hours worship, puja, and I would help her making sweet and some vadas with a hole in it, like a donut, and all that, right from a young age. I used to go to the temple, to the Shiva temple and worship, pious, religious. But when I read Prabhupada's books for the first time, I was shocked. I was shocked and I was, feeling angst. And I went and told my mom and my father, "Why did you not tell me these things before? Why did you not teach me Bhagavad Gita before?" It's the first question I asked. And they said that, what? It's the same thing we're doing. I said, no. It's completely different from what you're doing. And why did you not teach me? I'm 25 years old and I discovered it after 25 years. You should have told me this. You're so religious and everything. Why did you not tell me Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Why did you not tell me of the body and the soul and consciousness and everything? And they were just blinking at me. I said, you don't know. Actually, you don't know. I understood like a shock. Then I looked around and saw, most people don't know. This is India. Most people practice so much of Hinduism, this and that, and fight with each other. They don't know. It was a shocking realization to me. And then the more I read Prabhupada's books, the more I understood that it's not so easy to get it. It's not so easy to get it. Unless you meet with the pure devotee of the Lord, you're not getting it. And you may think you know it. That's another big illusion. You may think you're liberated. That's another big illusion. Like Lord Chaitanya gave an example. He said, Vimukta Manina. That shloka in the Bhagavatam, it says, they think they're liberated. They think they're liberated. The Brahmavadis and everybody. And he gave an example that it's like you're sleeping and you're dreaming that you have got up and you've gone to the bathroom, you're brushing your teeth. You really haven't got up. But you're dreaming that you've got up. And you're in the reality of the dream. I've got up, I brushed my teeth, I'm taking my morning coffee, and I'm going to work. It's all dream. You're not yet got up. So you may think that you are liberated, but you're not yet liberated. Right? So most people don't know. And it's pathetic. They think that they know. That's even more interesting. They think that they know. So it takes a pure devotee of the Lord to shake you up into reality. You don't know. And introduce you to Krishna consciousness. And all the stories are about people coming in touch with such devotees. Parikshit Maharaj came in touch with Shukadeva Goswami by the arrangement of the Lord. It's by the arrangement of the Lord that we come in touch with such an opportunity. And it's rare. And fortunate are those people who take it up. This is the greatest fortune. The day before yesterday, I was talking about this Prabhupada's disciple. I don't know, some of the Prabhupada disciples here can say that. Coming to him and telling him, right up in America, Prabhupada, what has happened to me? 1.5 years back, I was lying on the street. I had nobody. And I was just ruining myself. And today, I have purpose, I have meaning in my life. I get up in the morning, I come for Mangalarati, I chant japa, I do a lot of service and I'm focused and I'm very busy. I've completely changed. How did this happen? How did this happen? He's going and asking Prabhupada. And Prabhupada very humbly turns to him and says, I brought good fortune for you. That's all. I am the person who brought fortune. I made you fortunate. I introduced you to Krishna. I introduced you to Bhakti. Very humbly he's stating it, but it's a fact. It's a fact. He changed the whole world, made the whole world fortunate. Right? A pure devotee brings that fortune to people. And Prabhupada also told us to do that. Now that you've become fortunate, you've discovered Krishna, you've discovered Bhakti, it's your duty to give it to others. As much as it is mentioned here, Ataeva Shanais Chittam Prasaktam Asatam Pati. And the translation is, it is the duty of every conditioned soul to engage his polluted consciousness, right, in Krishna consciousness. Don't think it's an option. Don't think Krishna consciousness is one of the options I have. I can be a yogi, I can be a karmi, I can be a jnani, I can be a well-wisher of people and work for people like a human activist or somebody. Prabhupada is condemning it. In the purport, he's saying, a friendship which you're talking about, it's sense gratification. It's a new disguise of gratification. And it takes some intelligence to understand that's what's happening to me. I am being trapped. You see, we were discussing about affection. Mothers have affection for their children. Parents have affection for their children. And affection is one of the key bonds that keep society together, humanity together, family together. And it is so vital and necessary for the growth of the child and for him developing things and everything. But in the Bhagavatam, you will see phrases like this says, affection is your gratification. When you show affection, you're enjoying it. This is very rude and brash. And it's difficult for most human beings to take that. But the interpretation of the Bhagavatam is beware. Right? Just enough affection to grow your child. Don't indulge. But you'll see people, in India at least, parents indulging in affection so much so that the son gets married and the mom is very busy completely legislating how the husband and wife should live. Because you're my son. You belong to me. And so much so that she gets affected because of this new daughter-in-law who's come into the family and who's challenging the time that my son should give me to indulge my affection is being broken up. So much so that finally she plots against that daughter-in-law, puts poison into the son's head, and he divorces her, although he feels that I've got nothing against you. And he's saying this privately to the daughter-in-law, to his wife. Actually, it's my mom. I have nothing against you. But I just can't do it. This is a scintillating example of sense gratification through affection. And you can see that happening. Prabhupada is saying it even friendship. Friendship, you having friendship for you to enjoy. And in that investment, you lose the chance. You should be investing that in Krishna. Suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatvam shantim richati. I am the greatest well-wishing friend of everybody, including you, rascal, who's not reciprocating the friendship back to me. Right? So these are wonderful thoughts to think about and place ourselves properly. In the GPS, locate myself. This is where I am, this is what's happening to me, and this is what I could do. And so Bhagavatam offers this brilliant solution. The more we read the Bhagavatam, the more we become convinced this is true. This is true. So there is no other option apart from devotional service to Krishna that is brilliantly brought out in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna repeatedly again. It's brilliantly brought out by pure devotees of the Lord who practice it, implement it, spread it, institute it, and we should just follow it sincerely and give it to others. Om Tat Sat, Hare Krishna. It's 5 to 8:30. I'm sorry, 4 to 8:30. If there's any comment or question. Yeah, Mataji.
Thank you for the class, Maharaj. On the point of affection, you said it's form of a gratification, but at the same time, affection is the thing that attracts people because people are nowadays hankering for affection. So if we offer to people, including family members, it attracts them to Krishna. Because that's how I believe. So how do you think about that? How much affection we can show and at the same time not gratify?
So I got the question. So you should know how to regulate it. The problem is because of the mind. The problem is you will go off the tracks in affection. Like I'm giving an example of an Indian mom. I face these problems actually happening, confirmed again. So it is true. It's human behavior. So that is why culture and the culture of Krishna consciousness, all this is important to keep us on the track. Human beings have got to use their intelligence, their rationality to achieve the best purpose in life. So nobody is saying don't be affectionate, because without being affectionate, your child will not grow properly, get molded properly. So you should regulate it. Where necessary, you must shower your affection. But you must not let the affection rule your spiritual life and compromise it in any way. That's why balance is required. Human life is always a life of balance. It's neither this way nor that way. It's moderation. And Krishna says that you must be a yogi. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too less. Don't eat too much, don't eat too less. That is difficult to do. It's easy to do the other extremes, isn't it? So regulation, it's all about being a yogi. Even in affection, even in friendship. Prabhupada was very friendly, but he won't leave any friend go without getting Krishna consciousness inside him. He'll give you prasadam and everything and put it inside your head. Prabhupada attracted everybody by his very friendly behavior. If there was anybody who was really friendly, it's Prabhupada, with good welfare intention inside him. My friendship is not cheap. You become my friend, I give you Krishna consciousness, because I am truly your friend. I must give that to you. That's the logic Prabhupada is drawing here. So there's a balance and there's a way of looking at everything in terms of the ultimate benefit of Krishna consciousness. Then it is real friendship. Then it is real affection. Devoid of bhakti, it is gratification. That's the logic of the Bhagavatam. We may not like it, but we will slowly like it. Okay? Any other comment or question? Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. That was a really nice class. You said everyone has a duty to then share Krishna consciousness, and we're also told how we are not the doer. So how do we understand that when, obviously Prabhupada was a pure devotee, so everyone he came in contact with, they would change, like you say, whereas we may not have the realizations, obviously of Prabhupada, but of like this high level. So how can we really see like how effective we can be in our preaching and how to actually improve in that way as well?
Yeah. So I think your question you're actually asking is, I am not like Prabhupada, how can I influence people? You just do what Prabhupada told you to do to influence people. The words of a pure devotee, you carry it out, they carry the potency in it. You know, our preaching is not really a preaching. Our preaching becomes preaching when we repeat what Prabhupada said and refer to Prabhupada and say he said it. Otherwise we are just screeching, not preaching. To claim that it is mine and then talk about it and possess it and I made him a devotee, see, and all that, it's not very nice. Because that's the history in our movement, sorry to say that. All the great so-called people who thought it is them who are doing it, left the movement, finally. And left Krishna consciousness also, many of them. But the fact is, you should represent Prabhupada humbly. Because Prabhupada himself did that. He said, my Guru Maharaj asked me to do this, I'm doing it. If at all it's happening, it's by the blessing of Guru Maharaj. He extrapolated himself in that position and he said, it is him who's doing it. Even the books, he said that my Guru Maharaj is dictating it, I'm writing it. It's written by Krishna. And he was very sincere about it. Right? It's not that Prabhupada is just putting it up. But he lived like that. That was his consciousness. Right here, I think Mukund Maharaj is here. In his book, I was citing this 2 days back. He's written about how Prabhupada is telling a reporter who came to him after that first program Prabhupada had with, what's that guy, LSD Guru? Allen Ginsberg. Yeah. Allen Ginsberg sitting at the, seat of, along with Prabhupada and leading the kirtan, and then Prabhupada takes the kirtan from him and then gets his first program address. And the next day, the reporter comes running and said, "Are you not Allen Ginsberg's guru?" Because Allen Ginsberg was sitting at his feet. Maybe he saw him on the stage or something. "Are you not Allen Ginsberg's guru?" And then Prabhupada turns around from the staircase and says, "I am no one's guru. I am everybody's servant." And then he puts his head lower and says, "It's so difficult to be a servant." And here we are saying that I preached to him. I made him devotee. This is the founder of a movement. Before he actually laid the foundation in America and he started, he's telling some spare reporter, doesn't have to say that to him, but he's telling him, I am not anybody's guru actually. I'm everybody's servant. He started this movement with that feeling that I am your servant. I want to bring you Krishna consciousness. I'll cook for you. I'll give you prasadam. Please chant. Please chant. I want you to, get this benefit. This is real service mode. Right? This is the way to preach. Thinking that you're a servant of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. This is not an ordinary thing at all. The founder of a movement, this was his mode. There's no chance of you getting puffed up even a bit if you want to effectively preach and convey this golden information. If you want to be the port through which this information, you have to have the qualification to transfer this message. It's not willy-nilly somebody's stuff. It's Krishna speaking it. You may have got it very cheaply, you may have got it very easily, but it doesn't lose its value and weight. So don't ever think that I am preaching. Think I am being used by Prabhupada for preaching. Whatever little bit I can do, I can give his book across to the other person. That's why Prabhupada insisted on book distribution. You don't have to talk much, just give my books. Just give my books. Because I know you're sincere, but you'll blow it if you start talking of your own speculations. Just give my book. And people became devotees by reading his book. Even today they are becoming devotees. They'll always become devotees by reading Prabhupada's books. Yes. Does it sound too difficult? Yeah. Simply do it and you'll be in great bliss.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your very precise class. What I got from it is basically we have to be fully selfish and for Krishna and nothing else. In other words, there's no breaks in Krishna consciousness. We can't. Sometimes you can be feeling tired. I need to have a bit of a space out, we say, But there's no room at all in Krishna consciousness for anything else but Krishna consciousness. Is that correct?
Yes. But that word you used, selfish, we should be self-ish, oriented towards the self. It's perfectly all right. Oriented towards your self-development. So, I'm doing this because I need to improve in my Krishna consciousness. That type of selfishness is allowed. It's called Swartha Gati. Prahlad Maharaj says, Nate vidu Swartha Gatim hi Vishnum Durashaya ye Bahirattamanina. He said the fools don't understand that Swartha, what is good for them, is to surrender to Krishna and serve him. So when I'm serving Krishna, I'm being selfish, and I should be. I should be oriented towards the self and the welfare of the self. That's spiritual selfishness which is allowed. But in gratification, when we are selfish, that will spoil you.
It seems you can be slightly callous through that practice to others.
No, rather you should say the others will see you as callous. But according to Bhagavatam, you're not. Because they are on their program. From their platform and the program under Maya, they will see you as callous. So therefore, should you change? No, you have your own program. Of what Krishna is mentioned here in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, so it's okay. See, it's enough of ourselves trying to mold our whole life according to what other people think of you and want of you, the society wants, that fellow wants, this fellow wants, your parents want, and everybody. That's why the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam urge you to understand what is really good for you. Swartha. Swartha means you have to very deeply think about yourself. You are separated from Krishna. You need to go back to Krishna. What do I need to do for that? All these other things, callousness, selfishness, is all between this lifetime, between your birth and death. But this is about the longer view of yourself, existing in this world, life after life for millions of janmas. I think that view is more important than this short-term view in the bodily concept of life. That's why you have to zoom out and see yourself. I said your GPS. You zoom out and see where you are, what you are doing for so many janmas. It's time to take, charge of it. Okay? Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.